Somewhere in 2018, I came across this principle which I had never heard before. I was listening to one of the lectures from Jordan Peterson where he described how a small amount of people in the world have maximum amount of wealth and that it reflects into many realms of life, be it the number of music album sold or number of productive employee in a company. It was not normally distributed. It was interesting back then, but I didn't reflect much on it. Just a year later, I came across the same concept from the book 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And this time I realized that there's something to it. So I went deep down into the rabbit hole to understand this principle more thoroughly. I started reflecting on this principle with different angles, started implementing on them. Eventually, I ended up asking a very interesting question every single time when I wanted to get the most out of the time and energy that I put into a particular task. Be it the workspace or the passion for fitness that I have, it single-handedly changed the equation. Pareto was an Italian economist who found that 20% of the pea pods in his gardens resulted into 80% of the peas that he was getting. In 1906, he expanded this concept into macroeconomics by explaining how 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. There are many ways to phrase it, and the ratios can be 80-20, 90-10, 95-5 or 99-1 as well. But the main idea behind the concept remained the same. Large outputs are a result of small number of inputs. This could be found anywhere. Out of all the syllabus and books that I studied for my engineering days, less than 5% of it contributed to the career that I'm in. And even in that 5%, a very small portion of the ideas and concepts I still use in my daily life. Doesn't matter how big your friend circle is, only few would be there at a time of need. Doesn't mean that you stop talking to the rest 80% of the people. Even in the startup world, the VCs fund hundreds of companies, and out of those 100 companies, only one or two would work. But those would be enough to cover all the benefits or the profits that they have. So now we know that a small number of input are results of large output. How do we use this in our favor? So the question I started asking myself is, can I identify that 20%? What are the 20% of the efforts and time creating 80% of the desired output? Or the version of this question that Tim Ferriss described in his book 4 Hour Work Week is, what are the 20% of the things that you do are creating 80% of unhappiness? At the core, 80-20% rule or Pareto Principle is all about identifying that 20%, and later you can double down on that 20% to get the desired outcome. So how can we identify 20%? I came up with a simple framework for myself to answer this question in two ways. One, by past experiences. So you're using your past experience for your benefit here. You're not going through all the 100% of the work. You understand that there are few things that works extremely well with you in the past and the few which didn't. You know it. Which food works for you and which doesn't. You know very well which friend of yours would be there at the time of need and who are the ones who are just there for the contact. So here you bring your past experiences into your benefit so that you identify the 80% and then you just focus on the 20% of the things that you have desired. The second one is by trial and error. So there are certain things where you don't have past experiences and those are completely new to you. So you have to go through the process, but make sure to understand and observe around. Don't judge them, but observe around what are the things that are working well with you. What are the things that are bringing not the desired outcome that you wanted. And with trial and error, you would understand, you get more data and you would just observe and update yourself with that. So I'll give a quick example of an 80-20% analysis that I ran for myself. In summer of 2020, I was not sleeping more than 4 to 5 hours a day. I was in front of laptop working on multiple different projects and was always stressed out. Nothing was wrong with the lifestyle. I was eating homemade food, I was working out, I was cycling, and yet my stress levels were skyrocketed. At surface level, it looked like the work from home scenario because of the pandemic situation or the number of projects that I was working in, or maybe it was the pessimistic news that I was looking at every single day were the reasons for this stress. However, I was not sure. So I ran 80-20 analysis on this case. I went by trial and error method because I didn't know what was the 80% and what was the 20% here in this case. I didn't have the past experience for this situation. I took a couple of days off from my work. Nothing changed. And then I realized that long working hours and the multiple projects that I was working in were not the reason for it. In fact, it may be the effect of being unproductive because of the bad sleep. I quickly reduced the amount of news I was consuming and nothing actually worked at that instance. So was it the coffee? I dropped 5 p.m. coffee and boom, it just changed the equation. My sleep became better, as a result of which I was working very efficiently in my projects, resulting into less hours in the screen, and then it just reflected on different kind of work that I was doing. It came out that the late evening coffee doesn't go well with my system and that it affects my sleep, which in turn manifests into different domains of my life. Like my project works go bad, my recovery is bad from the training that I do, my trainings are also shitty, and so just a small cause, which was like the late evening coffee, was resulting into various different bad things for me. I just ran this 80-20% analysis into the project work that I was doing. I reduced most of the shallow work that I was doing, or maybe delegated it, and rather focused on the 20% of the things that were bringing in me the 80% of the results. So you literally can apply this analysis into different realms of your life. 80-20% rule or Pareto Principle helps you to analyze your strengths, and then you can double down on those strengths. It also can help you out to find the reasons for unhappiness. What are 20% of the things that I do are bringing me the unhappiness? So find out your 20%. This productivity technique or the framework have literally helped me a lot during last couple of years, and I just wanted to share with you all so that at least one of you get the benefit out of it. Because if I didn't know about this technique or the framework, it could have been in another way. Thanks.